All right, everybody, welcome back to episode, was this 95 or 96?
95, yes.
95 of the Facts Over Feelings podcast. I'm Trevor Kaufman. I'm joined by Ryan Marister and Jack Eden, but it's not just any other day for Jack Eden. It is his 22nd birthday. It's the DeAndre Ayton year for Mr. Eden. Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Now that's bad news. DeAndre Ayton.
What you mean?
And Ryan wastes no time to take a shot at DeAndre Ayton. I love it. And let's actually get right into some NBA discussion. The season starts in 4 days. The last day of preseason games are going on right now. The Magic are beating the Cavaliers. That is a sign to come in the regular season.
Actually, not anymore. Cavs are dominating. We're good.
Anyway, they're okay. Never mind. Sorry.
Up 3.
Good job, Cleveland. Good job. Anyways, I wanted to hand it over to Jack. It's his birthday. I want him to get this podcast started. Jack, give me a team that you either love or hate for this upcoming NBA season.
Let's hear it.
This is the team that I'm going to be most excited to watch this year. We didn't discuss this beforehand, so I don't know if I'm going to be taking either of your two teams. But ultimately, I think this team is going to be a top 4 team in the West this year. And they're young. They're exciting.
No, don't do it. Don't do it.
They're going to jump some of these other more established teams. And personally, I believe they're going to jump my Phoenix Suns, which is going to be a bummer, but they're going to be exciting to watch. They're going to be fun to watch. Ryan, who do you think I'm going to say? I'm curious.
Say it. I'll tell you if I say it.
I can tell you they have a former Phoenix Suns staff member as their head coach.
No way.
New Orleans
really did it. You really did it.
Will be a top 4 seed in the West this year. Think about it. After the trade deadline last year, CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram were the highest scoring duo in the NBA from the trade deadline through the end of the season. They have those two guys coming back. Zion Williamson is healthy. He's slimmed down. He's going to be a beast. And you throw all those other pieces around them, Jonas Valanciunas, who gives them size and strength inside. You have bench players, Jose Alvarado coming off the bench, making defensive plays. You have Herb Jones, who's, I believe, in the starting lineup. Maybe he gets bumped now with Zion coming back, but he's a big piece for them on both sides of the ball. They're a young team. They're a talented team. They're a well-coached team by Willie Green. And they really got off to a slow start at the beginning of last year. I think they were 1-12 or 1-16 or something like that to start the year. They finished 10 games below 500 with a full season without Zion Williamson. Now you have, in year 1 of Willie Green, now you have all these pieces coming together. If they can stay healthy this year, they will be a top 4 seed in the West. They will make a bunch of noise. They're a young team. They honestly could be the Phoenix Suns of 2 years ago, the team that makes all this noise.
Wow.
And potentially they have the talent to compete with anyone. Now you have, your more established, your Golden State Warriors, your Phoenix Suns, your Los Angeles Clippers, those teams with more talent, with older, more experienced talent. But I think this New Orleans team can play with anyone in the league. And
wow.
In my opinion, they're going to be the most exciting team to watch in basketball. And Zion Williamson will win Comeback Player of the Year this year.
Look, I'm going to let Trevor go ahead because I know he agrees with you. So, Trevor, what do you have?
I literally could not agree more with everything that Jack just said. I'll caveat a little bit. I don't know if they're going to finish top 4 this year. But I will say they'll finish top 6. They're going to be top 6 for sure. And Jack's right. This is a deep team. This is an incredibly talented team. And let's think about it. This team is getting Zion Williamson back. I don't want to underestimate that. Zion Williamson, in the 1 year where he played, I believe, 67, 68 games, was a 25-point-per-game scorer on 60% efficiency. That's unreal. And you're adding that to a Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum that was the highest scoring duo in the NBA last season when they played together. And I don't know what the Pelicans' record was with those two guys, but it was in the top 5 or top 10. They were a legitimate team with those two players. And now you have all these young rookies, coming into year 2. Herb Jones, who, speaking of deriding, Reggie Miller, oh my God, during that playoff series, loved Herb Jones. But Herb Jones is a very, very good player, so I'll give him that. Trey Murphy is a sniper. Jose Alvarado is the most annoying player in the NBA to have to go up against, but you love him on your team. He does so many different things. And the other thing I want to emphasize with this Pelicans team is they're big. They're athletic. They're long. They have size. And they're just an overall, I would say, just a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams. They're big at every position. I'm looking at the depth chart right now. Brandon Ingram is the shooting guard. He's 6'10". Herb Jones, 6'7", long. Zion Williamson, 6'7", 6'8", big, long. Jonas Valanciunas, 7-footer. Guys you got coming off the bench: Jackson Hayes, 7-footer. Larry Nance is big. Trey Murphy's a 6'5" 3-point shooter. And then you got Graham and Jose Alvarado, who are a little smaller. But this Pelicans team is big. They're talented. They're long, and they're well coached. And I agree with Jack. I think this team is a real, real problem. And I wouldn't be surprised if they finish top 4. I think the West is just so good this year, but they're for sure top 6. I'd even go as far as to say I think they'll be 5. I think I got them fifth in my Western Conference standings right now.
Sorry. I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of jumping the gun that's going on here. I have always been lower on CJ McCollum than the two of you. I don't think he's all that. Look, maybe in his exact prime, the guy was really, really, really good. I think he's solid. He's not an all-star anymore. He's certainly not an all-star anymore, I don't think. Certainly watching the Suns Pelicans series, at least from my perspective, I don't think he was very scary. I don't think he was a very intimidating player to play against in the playoffs. I think we can all agree, right, that Brandon Ingram was the guy far and away. And I'd even argue that the role players like, Alvarado and Herb Jones were much more impactful in those games than a guy like CJ was. I didn't notice him a lot. Maybe he ended up putting up points. I don't think it was on very efficient numbers. He wasn't raining in threes like he's supposed to do as the 2 guard that's been around for a decade. I don't think that he'll have as big of an impact as you're saying. I do think Zion coming back is obviously big. The guy's great. Can he keep the weight under control is a question. Can he remain healthy is a big, big question that everyone's just assuming the guy's going to be back, and he's back. Yeah, sure. But he's missed a lot of games in his career already. Even when he played, right? Remember his rookie year? He didn't play till January. Right? He didn't play for the first 3 months of the season. So I think keeping that in mind is really important. I also think that I think they overachieved a little last year, and they were 10 games under 500. Let's not forget. I know this team played the Suns pretty well. I know they were competitive, but the reality of the situation is to get to top 4, you have to be at least a 45-win team. Probably more wins than that. Probably more than that. Right,
Probably
but I'm saying
more
probably 50, right? And that's a big
only,
jump.
That's only a 9-win difference, though. 36 and 46
45
to 45.
Yeah, but that's being really, really it's probably 50, as Trevor said. In which case, that's 14 games. That's a lot of games, right? So, and you look at the teams in the West, right? The Clippers are better. The Warriors are better. The Mavericks are better at a minimum. I'd say that the Suns are probably better. I'd say the T-Wolves. I'd say the T-Wolves are better, right? I don't think, let me ask you this. I think the T-Wolves are better than the Pelicans this year. Is that a crazy thing to say? You guys disagree on that? I think that getting Gobert makes them so much better. And I don't want to derail the conversation, but my point is there are a lot.
Gobert. Oh, I keep going. I'm sorry.
You're disrespecting Rudy Gobert, first of all. And also, Cat is not meant to play the 5, especially defensively. So that's going to help a lot. Point is, I think there are a lot of teams better than the Pelicans. I think they played above their talent level last year. And I think adding Zion is going to be great. But, I don't know if it's enough to win 15 extra games. Do I think they could sneak in as a 6? Yeah. I think I could name 6 teams better, right? I think Denver's also better. I think that's 6 right there, right? So I think that you could easily have 6 teams get in over New Orleans. It's a crowded West. We all know it is. It's a crowd. Both conferences are crowded, to be honest, which is great for the NBA, but not for the Pelicans. I think there's more experienced teams and players ahead of them, and I think it's going to be hard for them to win enough games to get top 4, certainly. And I think top 6 will still be a challenge, and it all hinges on Zion's health, to be honest with you.
I don't think your point on Minnesota being better than them is unreasonable. I think that's a reasonable point. And I think ultimately these 2 teams are going to be kind of right in the middle of that West in that 4, 5, 6 spot.
And Memphis. I forgot to mention Memphis. I'm sorry. That's another there's just a lot of teams
as well. Yeah. But ultimately, you're talking about CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
if you think about it, with Zion healthy, he's the third option on that team behind BI and Zion. Like, can you think of who is a better third option in the NBA in this league? There aren't many, I can tell you that.
Do you want me to tell you one?
If
Who?
I know.
You know who my
It's not Evan Mobley.
Hey,
Not
maybe
right
Evan
now.
Mobley is not better right now than CJ
maybe it's
McCollum.
all-star Jared Allen. I'm sorry. But anyway, we can go ahead.
But I mean, Drew Holiday is a guy you got to consider. I don't think there's a third guy in Boston who's better than CJ McCollum.
I do all
If
think
you want to look just out in the West, like, I mean, DeAndre Ayton, like they play different roles, so that's tough to compare. But like John Wall coming off 2 years of not playing basketball, Jordan Poole, would you say Jordan Poole is better than CJ McCollum? I'm not sure I'm ready
It's
to
close.
go there. I just think like this team, their depth, their ability to hurt you in so many different ways. They could go bully ball inside with Jonas and Zion. They can score from the perimeter with CJ and BI. They can defend and pester you with Herb Jones and Jose Alvarado. Like, they have multiple different ways that they can win a game, and they're young. So that's going to be exciting to see. Now, come playoff time, that's where, last year was so important for them to make playoffs and gain that experience playing against a 64-win Phoenix Suns team. But, regular season, anything can happen. And I'm curious to see how these guys play night in, night out. And I think they're a team that's super dangerous. Ultimately, like you were talking about the teams, I don't know if the Phoenix Suns finish higher than New Orleans this year. I don't think Memphis finishes higher. I don't think Dallas finishes higher.
Oh, I think Dallas
Those
does.
are three teams right there that I think New Orleans will be better than.
Fair.
Unless Luka goes for a 30-point triple-double every single game
Yeah.
and just single-handedly carries that team, then that's another.
Which he's been doing, but
That's more playoff
That
Luka,
team
I
is-
think, than
that-
regular season Luka, but
That team's
but
got a good
ultimately,
roster.
like, I just think New Orleans potentially has the most talent on a roster in the West. And for that reason, I think they're a top 4 team.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't really a point, but I will say that, like, if you're talking about third options, Maxi's a better third option, or Harden, however way you slice it. And do I think
are they?
Right.
yes?
I mean, I think
Maxey,
they're
yeah.
comparable, but at the same time, those
Yes.
3 third options that we listed are all in the Eastern Conference. So
True. Yeah, no, it's fair.
where
Yeah.
in the Western Conference
Yeah.
is a third option better than CJ McCollum?
And I have to stick up for my boy Mobley. Yeah, I'd take him as a third option. But anyway, it's an argument. They have the talent. I just worry about the health, and I just think that McCollum's a little overrated. But we'll see. And I think they overperformed last year towards the end of the year in the playoffs. They rode the wave of momentum, right? And credit to them, they did. And they got the country's attention, the league's attention. I think that they'll fall a little back. The team itself will fall a little bit back down to earth, and Zion will help a lot, obviously. But we'll see if he can stay healthy. It really all hinges on that, to be honest with you. So yeah, Trevor, I don't know if you have anything else to say before we move on to another team.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I don't understand why we think CJ McCollum's overrated. That confuses me a little bit. The guy
Really?
averaged 24 points per game last season. He averaged 6 assists. He was assimilating to a new team. When he played with that team, they had a top 10 record in the NBA, and he was a part of the highest scoring duo in the league with Brandon Ingram. So this notion that CJ McCollum is overrated doesn't make sense to me. He's been a borderline all-star his entire career. He's a walking 20 to 25 point per game scorer. They're adding another one in Zion Williamson. So, and look, like, we can talk about some of these other teams like Memphis, who I think New Orleans is better than this year. Dallas, I think that's very close. I would take Dallas slightly. Denver, it's close. I would probably take Denver. But it's very comparable. And one injury here, one guy slightly overachieves there. The Pelicans could very well finish in the top 4, and I think they're for sure going to finish in the top 6. And let's not underestimate Willie Green. I think Willie Green did an unbelievable job with that team last year. He was able to, this is the most important thing he did. He was able to keep that team focused, and he was able to keep that team engaged even after that 1-12 start. I think that takes a lot of skill, because it's very easy to just be like, we're 1-12, we suck. Let's.
Uh-oh.
Nice, the timing on that.
It would have been very easy to give up, but they made something of that season. They made the move to get CJ, and all of a sudden they became a really, really, formidable team. And I think these young guys getting that playoff experience is going to be huge for their growth in this upcoming season. And look, speaking of, we talked about the third option. CJ McCollum might be the best third option in the West. I think the Warriors might have a better third option with Draymond or Poole. They both have, different roles, and maybe. I mean, CJ is a very, very good NBA player, and I think he's going to showcase why he should have been an all-star at some point in his career.
Yeah. I don't want to focus on this too much, but the reason I said CJ is overrated is like, I was looking at his playoff performance primarily. Right. So what do we think of CJ? We think he's a jump shooter, right? We think he's a 3-point shooter, right?
He had a bad series, but
yeah. You're the leader, right? You're supposed to be the vet, the guy who's been there before. You're supposed to be the guy. You're the sharpshooter of the team. He's the sharpshooter of the team.
Well, is Kevin Durant overrated? He had a bad series.
I mean, did he go 3 for 8, 4 for 11, 2 for 9, 1 for 8, 1 for 5 from 3? I mean, that's pretty awful.
I think you're nitpicking bad stats, but yes.
Was
Kevin Durant good?
So CJ McCollum's primary purpose is to be a jump shooter. That's what his purpose is. What's Kevin Durant's
primary purpose?
Kevin Durant, did he play as bad as CJ? Maybe he did. I don't have his stats pulled up in front of me. All I'm telling you is he shot awfully from 3. As I said, he had a 2 for 9, 1 for 5, 1 for 8, right? 4 for 11 was
if we're going to nitpick a handful of bad games, we can make this argument.
I'm not
any player in the NBA.
I'm not nitpicking 5 games in the regular season. I'm nitpicking the playoff series where the players was. My point is that's where I was getting that from. The idea that I don't think that, is McCollum going to step up as big as everyone thinks? And when you're taking he put up 25 points. He averaged 24 points in the playoffs, but he took 23 shots a game. That's a lot. It's a lot of shots to take. That's all. Yeah.
Kevin Durant was 9 of 24, 4 of 17, 6 of 11, and 13 of 31. Only one of those games did he shoot over 50%.
Yeah.
And
he was awful
from
too.
3, outside of a 2 for 3 showing in game 3, he went 3 of 11 from 3 in game 4. And those numbers were not very good. But
exactly. Yeah. We're not going to everyone has bad games.
Okay. There's a difference in player. I don't think CJ's had as big of an. I don't think he's as good as you think he is. I don't know. I think he's always had a guy in front of him that's brought him where he was. But look, he's a solid complimentary piece, I suppose. Whatever, sure. Yeah, he's solid.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, that's enough Pelicans talk. They still leave a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth from that playoff series. I couldn't get over Reggie Miller's commentary of Herb Jones. I'm sorry. That was the most annoying thing I've ever had to listen to. He made Herb Jones sound like the next, I don't even know, Bill Russell, the way he was playing. I don't even know. Anyways, moving on to Ryan's team. Ryan, who do you like? Do you hate? Do you love? Let's hear it.
Oh, I thought about doing a couple different teams, but I'm going to go with the team that I told Trevor about a few months ago. And this was, this is going to surprise you. The Detroit Pistons. I've mentioned them to you before, and I'm going to tell you, look, they're a sneaky little team here. The East is deep, but I do think there's opportunity at the bottom of the East for some play-in spots. I really do. There's a lot of room there. They might be a year away, but I'm going to go with it this year. I think the Pistons have a lot of talent, right? Do I even have to say it? They have guys like Sadiq Bey, who I know Eden loves. They've got Cade Cunningham, who, as much as I've hated, the guy's a legitimate point guard size, who, like I said, coming out of college, had a really nice jump shot. And he continues to have a really good jump shot. He's going to be a nice player. He's a solid distributor with the ball. And who else did they get in the offseason? They got Jaden Ivey, who I think this duo is going to be fantastic going forward. And it might take a little bit of time at the start of this year, but I think they're going to be spectacular come, future seasons. And as the year goes on this year, Ivy, it reminds me a lot of obviously the Ja and Westbrook comparisons with just the athleticism at the guard spot. But, outside of that, he's, I think, a better 3-point shooter than both of them, which is kind of like a different, a little bit of a different, thing than those two guys had. So I think that backcourt's going to be a really, really good. I think it's going to surprise people this year. I know Trevor and I have talked about, I know Trevor was telling me today who he thinks will win Rookie of the Year. And I didn't really think about it. But the more I think about it, I think Jaden Ivey could really surprise a lot of people. I know a lot of people are talking about Banchero. A lot of people are talking about Banchero, and he's definitely the favorite right now. I know Trevor is talking about, U of A alum Benedict Mathurin as the Rookie of the Year candidate. But for me, I think Ivey could really do it. The guy has the explosiveness. He's a guard. He's going to get the ball a lot on a team that's up and coming. And I think he's going to be absolutely fantastic. So I think I just really think that this backcourt's going to carry them. And they're super, super young. And I think they'll play with a lot of energy, and I think they'll surprise people. So look out for them. Oh, and Dwayne Casey's coaching them. And I know people might have mixed feelings about him, but the guy coached the playoff team, for years, and they went far until they ran into LeBron. So he's at the very least, I think, a solid coach. They don't have an awful coach, who they'll have to fire. I think he's a solid enough coach to get them where they need to go. And I think they could get to the play-in this year. So I think they'll overperform, surprise some people, get to a play-in spot behind their guards. So I'm excited to watch them. So I think it'll be a lot of fun. I don't know if anyone
I guess
agrees
I'll
with me or
go.
not, or you think I'm crazy. I don't know if it's
No, you're not
crazy to think
crazy. And
Yeah.
look, the bottom part of the East is weak. I think there are some teams that the Pistons can jump. I look at it like this: are the Pistons better than 5 teams in the East? And I go through it.
It's close.
Philadelphia, no. Miami, no. Chicago, no. Orlando, yes. Boston, absolutely not. New York, no, even though I don't like New York this year.
Mhm.
Indiana, no, they're not better than Indiana. Atlanta, no. Toronto, no. Washington, yes, I'll give them Washington. Cleveland, absolutely not. Brooklyn, absolutely not. And Milwaukee, absolutely not. And I'm missing Charlotte. So for me, the Pistons are probably the 3rd worst team in the East. I just think
Wow,
I just don't know if they're better than enough. I mean, they'd have to leapfrog the Pacers
Yep.
and the Knicks
Yep.
and
The Hornets.
and the Hornets. Yeah, but I already think they're better than the Hornets. So I don't know. They're up and coming. They're just so young.
Yeah.
And I just don't think they don't have enough depth on this roster. I think they have a good starting 5, but that second unit is horrible. And like I said, they're babies. I mean, Cade Cunningham can't even drink legally. Jaden Ivey can't even drink legally. Sadiq Bey, is he even 21 yet, Jack? I don't even know.
Yeah, he's 21.
Okay. Sadiq Bey can drink legally. I just think this team is so young. That second unit scares me a lot. I don't see them leapfrogging enough teams to make the play-in. I think they can win, 28 to 35 games.
They got your boy. They got the guy. What's his
Bogdanovic.
Bogdanovic.
They do have Bogdanovic, but that doesn't do it. That's not going to change how I feel about them overall this year.
Fair. Yeah.
But I like what they're doing. I think they have a lot of nice young pieces. I think Cade's going to be great. I think Ivy's going to be great. I think Sadiq's been a good pick for them. Bogdanovic was a nice pickup, at least for the short term. That front court with Isaiah Stewart and Marvin Bagley is very suspect, but
they got Jalen Duren, but how good will he be? I don't know. I think he'll
right.
be.
I mean, look, that's a project right there. This team is just like a newborn baby. They need some time to grow and develop. And I just don't think this year they're quite there to make the playoffs, to make the play-in, I should say.
Fair.
And I look at a team like the Pacers, who are a good are comparable to the Pistons in terms of how young they are. The Pacers got guys who are proven. I mean, Halliburton, Duarte, Buddy Hield. I think that team's just better. And I think I just don't see Detroit leapfrogging quite enough teams yet to make the play-in. I could be wrong, but I like what they're doing. But they'll be 12th in the East this year. Sorry.
I'm being a little gutsy with it. I think they'll
look. I mean, now that the NBA's been done, the NBA's letting everybody into the playoffs now with this play-in tournament. All you got to do is not suck. If you don't suck, you make the play-in. So we'll see.
Yeah, fair. Eden, what do you have to say on this?
This is also going to be a young, fun, exciting team to watch.
Mm-hmm.
At best, which I don't know if this is what Ryan was thinking. I'm a little higher on them than Trevor. I think at their absolute best, they're the 9 seed in the East.
Probably, yeah, I agree. This year, yeah.
I see them more in that 10-11 spot come the end of the season, but ultimately, yeah, they need another year or two before they can be a legitimate playoff threat, in my opinion, to end up making the top 8. But they're going to be an exciting team to watch going forward. I think they have, Bogdanovic. Adding him is a solid vet. I think Sadiq Bey is a guy who's played 2 years now and has shown that he can score and stay around. You're building off Cade and Ivy and seeing how that works. Maybe it takes a year or two for them to figure out how to play together. But I don't know. They're going to be a fun team to watch. This East is going to be very competitive. And that's the thing that's holding me back is I think there's legitimately 8, 9, 10 pretty good teams in the East. And I have a favorite team in the East that I think might be a little bit surprising, but
fair.
We can get to that a little bit later. Yeah. I think they're gonna be right around that last spot in the play-in. Yeah,
I agree. I think we all agree on like the future of this team. I think they'll be better than expected this year, right? I think we all agree on like
I just like where
they will
like
be good in the
who,
future.
who are the
Hmm.
Pistons better than in your eyes? I
So-
just don't.
I mean, to me, there's an obvious 5, right? So Orlando, right?
Okay.
Charlotte, who I think is also fair. Washington, I think you have
Okay.
3. And the 2 that you guys are going to disagree with, but I think that they can be better than are the Knicks, who I think they can be better than, and I think they can be better than the Pacers. I think those are the 5.
Those
that they
aren't
have to be better than.
obvious.
No, I
Those
know,
last two are
I know those.
certainly
I know they're not. Yeah.
I think they're better
That's-
than the Pacers. I don't know if I'm ready to say they're better.
Yeah,
than
so that's the difference, Trevor, right? The first 3 are obvious, and yeah, Trevor's a
The
Pacers
Pacer
lover.
hate. What are we doing? They got Halliburton.
They don't win. They don't
Knicks.
win. Look,
They don't win. They're rebuilding.
no, true. I'm just saying, like they had Halliburton last year, and they lost more than they did. Like they lost just as much as
Yeah,
they
I mean,
did.
they
when
traded
didn't
for
have
him at the deadline when they were tanking and got rid of all their guys.
Right.
Like Brogdon.
Sure, Brogdon was still on the team. He left in the offseason.
Okay, that's true. That's a good.
But
point.
but no, my only point is like we agree on the trajectory of this team. It's just I think they'll be better faster. And look, we'll see. I could very well be wrong. I just think that backcourt. If Ivy's rookie of the year, like I'm predicting right now, like it's not that crazy, right? If in fact he is the best rookie of this class this year, it's like it all of a sudden becomes a possibility. Like wait, like Ivy's that good? Like they could sneak into the play-in here. Like this could be an exciting electric offense. And they have some shooters. Like they've also have Alec Burks. I mean, not that he's a great player, but they have a couple shooters off the bench who all of a sudden can like make some shots for them, right? So you're right. They have no front court. The back court have to carry them. And I think we agree.
I thought you were a big Keegan Murray guy, Ryan. Was I wrong?
Eden says this, ladies and gentlemen, because I am. Look, I'm not the biggest Keegan Murray guy. Look, he's a solid player. But the disrespect by the Sacramento Kings to take him over Ivy is just criminal. So they're going to regret that for years to come. And I'm going to laugh at the Kings organization again for messing up. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I think Detroit sneaks into the plan. We'll see. It's going to be close. And I know Trevor thinks the Knicks, certainly the Knicks, probably the Pacers are better. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be fun. I think they'll be an exciting team to watch. So, we can move on from the seamless. Jack, you have anything else you want to add?
Let's go
And
to
my
Trevor's
team.
team.
All right,
I'm
let's get it.
excited.
Trevor, let's hear your team real quick. What do you got here? What do you got for us? What team do you think is going to
Look,
be
so
better
here's the
or
thing.
worse than expected?
I was going to talk about the Pelicans. Eden stole it. Then I was going to bring up the Pacers, but we've already kind of talked about 2 young up-and-coming teams. So I'm going to talk about a team that I hate this year. And
Oh,
I'm
boy.
using the word hate literally because I
boy.
do not like what I see. The New York Knicks, ladies and gentlemen. I am not a fan of this team. I am not a fan of their offseason. I am not a fan of their head coach. I think he is hampering the development of some of their young guys, like Quentin Grimes quickly, and Obi Toppin in particular. He is
You love Obi Toppin.
completely botched that. Obi Toppin went for 40 in a game. I'm sorry. Give the guy some PT. See what he can do.
Trevor loves Obi Toppin.
Ridiculous.
Oh my god.
I don't like this team. They're not good. I'm
Nope.
sorry. And Jalen Brunson does not change a thing for me. No offense. And I think Jalen Brunson's a very capable, very good NBA player. I just don't like the fit here. I think Julius Randle's too much of a ball stopping, ball hogging, player.
Yeah.
RJ Barrett's a very inefficient offensive scorer. Evan Fournier provides nothing outside of an occasional 3 ball. And Mitchell Robinson's fine, but he's not a world beater.
Yeah.
And to me, the Knicks just aren't getting better in a conference that's getting better. And why is Cam Reddish on this depth chart the third small forward and the 5th shooting guard? What is Tom Thibodeau doing with this depth chart? I just don't understand the strategy of some of his coaching decisions and, some of his rotations. And the talent's not there for me to make any noise. I don't like the Knicks. I'm not a believer. I don't think Jalen Brunson's going to change much. I don't know. I'm with you guys. I think they're better than the Pistons and the Pacers, but I think this Knicks team is a play-in team. I don't see them making the top 6 at all.
For the record, they missed the
And-
play-in last year, did they not?
They did miss the
Missed
play-in
the
last
play-in
year.
last
So you
And
think
this
they're
year,
better than
I see
last
them-
year?
I-
You think
I
they're
see
better than
them
last year?
being- I see them being at 9 or 10. I'm sorry. I don't even think they're top 8. I
So you-
really don't.
But you
I'm
do
not a
think they're
fan.
better than last year. You do think they're better than last year, though.
They're better than last year, but a lot of teams are better than last year. And the Knicks didn't even make the play-in last year. So my question is, fellas, let's go through it.
Yeah.
Where are the Knicks gonna leapfrog teams? Like, who are the Knicks better than in the Eastern Conference right now? Let's go through it right now. The Celtics, absolutely
Nope.
not. Bucks, no.
Nope.
76ers, no.
Nope.
Heat, no. Cleveland, no. Chicago, no. Atlanta, no. Toronto, no. That's 8 right there, right off the bat.
Yep.
Did I even say Brooklyn? Brooklyn,
Nope.
that's 9.
Yep.
Who are the Knicks better than? The Knicks are the 10th best team in the East. I'm sorry, they're a playing team. They won't make the playoffs. I like
Trevor.
Jalen Brunson. I know he's a Nova guy. I know Eden likes him, but there's just nothing. I don't see it with the Knicks, and I hate Tom Thibodeau. I think he's the most overrated coach in the NBA.
Coach of the year a year and a half ago. Yes, sir.
The worst decision of all time, having him be coach of the year over Monty, and we're seeing why that's the case. But I'm sorry, it just doesn't do it for me. I don't
Trevor,
like the Knicks.
it's funny you say that you hate them and that you put them ahead of the Pistons and the Pacers because I, for one,
Well,
must
they're
say no,
better.
I might hate them even more. Is all I'm saying. I have them below both the Pistons and the Pacers. Like I think the Pistons get into the play-in. I think the Pacers would be one spot behind. They'll be right there. I don't think New York makes the play-in. I think they're that bad. Look, Jalen Brunson's the kind of guy to me that they signed for $100+ million, and he's not going to add a single win to their total. I don't think he's going to add wins to their total. Like he's a small guard who can get his.
I mean, how much better is he than Derrick Rose?
But
That's
how
my
much
question.
better? But like RJ Barrett's a better player than him. I'd rather have RJ Barrett take the ball.
Well, he's not a point guard, but yeah.
No, but like I mean, is Brunson known for like his facilitating? Like I don't
I
necessarily.
mean, he was a point guard at Nova, and he split that kind of duty.
All right,
Luka,
well, yeah,
but
maybe he'll run the offense, and then you said it perfectly. Randall's a ball stopper. That's who he is. Mitchell Robinson has no offensive game, literally zero. His legs are shot at 24. Quentin Grimes is a guy who I love, but he's not getting enough playing time. Obi Toppin's an athletic big guy who can dunk. That's about it. I don't think he's all that good. What's his name? Miles McBride from West Virginia. I love the guy, but he doesn't get a lot of playing time either. I think he's also a really good player.
And quickly.
They have a log jam, and they decided to pay a guy $100 million to do the same thing these other guys can do, especially Quickly and Brunson. How different are they? Quickly has more length, right? Am I wrong? Quickly's actually a little bit bigger. I'd almost rather. I think he's longer. I don't think. Brunson's pretty small. Brunson's got to be
small.
Eden. Brunson's got to be what, 5'11", maybe 6'1". Yeah. Okay. So he's 6'6". Yeah, 6'1".
So he's biting his tongue. I can't tell what he's thinking of.
I know. That's why I want Eden to go last because I know he disagrees with us a little bit. But yeah, I think they have a lot of the same player. I think Brunson's not going to add to their wins, and I think that they're going to be inefficiently shooting the ball the whole season. And Thibodeau is going to want them to play defense, and these players don't really want to play defense. I mean, you have Fournier on there. I mean, right? They have so many guards that can shoot, like kind of, and that's it. It's just, right. It's weird. So yeah, I think they're going to.
And RJ can shoot, kind of.
Yeah, and Obi Toppin can shoot, not really. But
the hatred.
But look, the point is, yeah, they just have a bunch of like mid players. And I think that they're going to be a bad team because of it.
Added another mid player.
They did. I mean, they did. They're right. They added a guy.
The mid three. I don't know if you heard that. They have the mid three in RJ, Randall, and Brunson. That's their nickname, the mid three.
The mid three. I love that.
I like it. Yeah, and that's the point, right? Those are their 3 guys, and they have a bunch of the same player behind them at guard. So yeah, I don't think they'll be good. I'll leave it to Eden. I talked enough about them. Eden, go ahead. Why do you disagree a little bit? You have to at least a little.
I agree with a lot of what you guys said. I think at best they're the 8 seed.
Okay.
And I think there's a couple of teams that they could potentially compete with this year. And the 2 teams that I'm looking at.
No.
Ryan, calm down. It's not the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I know. Of course it's not, because they're actually.
It is the Atlanta Hawks and the Chicago Bulls. And I think those 3 teams are on a similar level.
The Hawks?
The Hawks. Wow.
I think those 3 teams are on a similar level.
Trevor, they got all-star Dejounte Murray in the offseason. Oh, my goodness.
Wow. That's surprising me.
I think, I mean, you disagree
The
with
Chicago
me
Bulls,
I
get that.
I think the Bulls
not really.
overachieved last year. They were hot at the beginning. They cooled down. They don't have
hurt,
Lonzo Ball for a significant portion.
Ball's still not playing, by the way.
Right.
Big loss.
Yeah.
I think they overachieved a little bit last year and will drop down into that 7-8 seed probably, maybe even 9. So they'll be somewhere in the play-in. Atlanta, I'm curious to see how this DeJounte Murray, Trae Young combo works. The only way I can see it working is if you play Trae more off ball, which I don't think is his game at all. It wasn't his game at Oklahoma, and it hasn't been his game so far in the NBA. So I just see like if Trey's got the ball the whole time and he's just running, those pick and rolls with long 3-point shots, like where does DeJounte Murray impact the game outside of the defensive end of the floor? So I'm not necessarily sold on that combo working out really well. Plus, you still have those guys. You have talent there, but you significantly drop off from your big playoff run the year before. I think people are still a little bit high on them. I think those are the two teams that the Knicks, realistically, if they want to be a team that people are thinking about, they got to jump those two teams. And I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying that they are on the same level that those two teams are. Ultimately, I do think the Knicks are a play-in team. I see them being somewhere in that 8 to 9 spot, but those are the three teams I think you got to watch out for to say, these may be the top 3 play-in teams, and they can go in any kind of order that they are.
Eden, do you think it's crazy to think that both Indiana and Detroit could finish ahead of New York, or do you think that's a possibility? I'm just curious.
I think
in your head.
Ultimately, you want to know what I think it comes down to? It comes down to Tom Thibodeau. And basically, Thibodeau's been a guy who has never played young guys, right?
Yeah, true.
The Knicks had a high draft pick this year. I think they traded it away. They didn't even draft anyone. Because he's just notoriously, he wants to play the vets and not the young guys. So ultimately, that's where the talent on this Knicks team lies. Like, I'm not sold on Miles McBride, but Emmanuel Quickly coming off the bench, I think he's a great 6th man. But, does he mesh with Derrick Rose? And then you get, Rose has been around for a while. Thibodeau coached him in both Minnesota and maybe not Minnesota, but definitely in Chicago.
Yep.
I believe Minnesota as well. Like, those two have that relationship. Like, you're at some point you're gonna have to play Quickly over him. Then you have Obi Toppin coming off the bench. Maybe he even
let Obi cook. Let Obi
cook. Who knows? Mitchell Robinson's always hurt, so maybe
and Quentin Grimes
and
Quentin Grimes.
And Quentin Grimes. I think Quentin Grimes is gonna play a lot this year. He may even start at the 2 this year. I would not be surprised if he does.
He's a great player. Great 3.
You gotta let Obi cook, but
But that's what it's gonna be. Is can Thibodeau back off, not be so stubborn, and play the guys who are actually good and have talent on the team? So if they don't achieve their goals, Thibodeau will be out, and he will be the reason why this team did not achieve their goals. But it's going to come down to ultimately, I think, coaching. And if you look at Atlanta and you look at who's the other team, Chicago, I think those two coaches are probably better. Maybe not Billy Donovan, but I definitely think Nate McMillan is a better coach than Tom Thibodeau. So I think, they're on the same playing field. Do I think the Knicks will jump them? No. Do I think it's possible? Yes. But ultimately, I think it comes down to coaching.
Look, I think the mid-off of the century would be the Chicago Bulls and the Knicks in the 9-10 playoff game, or the 9-10 playing game, which the Chicago Bulls would win, in my opinion. But that's neither here nor there. Ryan, do you have any final thoughts on the Knicks before we talk about the Suns for about 5 minutes? Because I do want to bring up the Phoenix Suns.
I have one.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's throwing this in here. This guy always have to throw in the Phoenix Suns. What in the world?
Look, it's a staple of this podcast.
What in the world?
I have one question for you guys before we transition back to the West. Who do you think finishes first in the East at the end of the season?
The Cavs. Okay, I'm joking. Honestly,
you said that with so much conviction. I believe it.
To be honest. Okay, I see you say this, by the way. The Cavaliers will finish 4th. I firmly believe that. But look, in reality, I'll make this quick. The Celtics, I don't think will be in top 2. I think they'll surprise people and fall out of the top 2 because I think without Ime Udoka, there's gonna be an internal problem. Not just because he's not coaching right on the court, also off the court. It's just like
definitely an internal problem with Ime Udoka. Right now.
I just mean it's gonna mess with the flow, the culture of the organization a little bit. It's gonna be a little weird not having him around for a full year. It's gonna be different, and I think that's gonna affect them more than we kind of think. And so I don't think they're in the top 2. I think Miami finishes 2nd again. Milwaukee's going to win. Milwaukee's going to win. Actually, no, I'm going to lie to you. Miami's going to win. Milwaukee's going to get 2nd. Miami's going to win because they're a regular season team. They're very well coached. They're a great defensive team. They have the talent on offense. All right,
hurry it up.
They'll finish first. Go ahead, Trevor.
Interesting.
I got a dark horse to win the East.
The Cavs.
The New York Knicks.
Oh my Lord. Anyways, my dark horse is Philadelphia. I think they can win the East. I think they got a big 3 Tyrese Maxey will be an all-star this year. You heard it here first on the podcast. PJ Tucker, a very underrated addition in the offseason. And we want to talk about guys who have kind of gotten back in shape. James Harden. I think James Harden has found a little bit of motivation to play basketball again, right? He went through his, strip club wing eating phase or whatever. But I think James Harden has matured. He's in his 30s now. And I think he's going to have a little bit of a resurgent year. And Joel Embiid is Joel Embiid. And I think the 76ers team is good. And if I was a betting man, I'd bet Milwaukee, but that's no fun because Milwaukee's just Milwaukee. I like Philadelphia as a dark horse to get the number 1 seed in the East this year.
But Trevor, can I just say, don't we remember, did Miami finish 3 or 4 this past year? Sorry, Miami.
Miami won it.
Milwaukee.
One.
I'm sorry, I meant Milwaukee.
Milwaukee finished 3.
They finished
Boston
third. Yeah.
finished 2.
So right, my point is like, right, we all know Milwaukee's the best team in the East, right? I think we can all agree on that.
They would have won the East if they had Middleton.
But
last year.
will they finish number 1 in the regular season? Right, that's a different story. Eden, what do you think?
Right.
Who do you think wins the East?
I didn't think I'd agree with either one of you two. I thought I was going to have the surprise pick, but Trevor took my pick. I
Wow.
love Philadelphia this year. I love what they did.
Interesting.
In the offseason. They added, PJ Tucker, size and defense. They added a lot of shooting around those 3 guys. And I think Maxey takes another step this year. Joel is going to be Joel. He should have won the MVP last year, but that's neither here nor there. And I think James Harden is him. James Harden. So
Hey, Eden,
James Harden is him.
Hey, Eden, you've got jokes right now, man. First you say Philly's going to win the East, then you say James Harden him, and then you say Embiid should have won MVP. You've got jokes, man.
Did I say anything wrong there, Trevor? I don't think so.
No, I mean, look, at the end of the day, James Harden is him for a multitude of reasons. And some of those are inappropriate for this podcast. But James Harden is still a Hall of Fame basketball player for being real. And he looks like he's in shape. And I think he's motivated. I really do. And they have Tobias Harris, who's a solid compliment. They have Thibault, who can play. Adding DeAnthony Melton, I think, is also an underrated signing in the offseason. And like Eden said, they have Joel Embiid. Jokic was the rightful MVP winner, but Joel Embiid is still great. This Philly team is dangerous. I like this Philly team a lot. And Eden, you're spot on with that pick of Philadelphia winning the East.
We'll move on. But in the wise words of Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris over me. Okay,
nobody's arguing that.
I'm
just saying he's a nice compliment.
Miami's going to finish above Philly, and that's all there is to it, ladies and gentlemen.
Look,
I think Miami drops out of the top 4. Miami will not be in the top 4.
Oh, wow. Look, Eden, do you want to bet? I'll bet $25 on that right now.
No, but I don't think they'll be in the top 4.
Wait, so does that mean?
Does
that mean Cleveland's in the top 4 for you, Eden?
Yes.
Let's go. That's
I
what
have
I like to hear.
Philly, Milwaukee, Boston, and Cleveland. Top 4.
I love this. This is great. Okay, Trevor, go ahead.
Here's what I'm going to say.
And
Philadelphia wins the regular season. Milwaukee's coming out of the East. No ifs, ands, or buts. There's 0 doubt in my mind about that. They would have come out of the East again last year if Middleton didn't get hurt in that series against Boston. But Philly will win the regular season. I think that's something that we should point out. And they won the regular season 2 years ago when they lost to Atlanta in the second round of the playoffs. So they've been there before. I'm just saying. Look, the regular season's not the playoffs. I'm not arguing that. And I know we've talked a lot of NBA, but we do have to bring up the Phoenix Suns because they're Eden and I's pride and joy, and it's Eden's birthday. And I want to do this really fast. And I know we've taken Ryan's losing it over there, but look, why are we hating on the Suns? Where did Eden go?
He couldn't resist.
I'm back.
He couldn't resist.
I had to go grab something.
You two made some egregious statements about the Phoenix Suns off.
He couldn't resist bringing it up. He had to. Go ahead. What do you have to say, Trevor? Go ahead. I'll disrespect
the Phoenix
them more.
Suns went to the finals, won 64 games last year, and all of a sudden we're not going to finish top 4 in the West this year.
Mm-hmm.
Who's on our bench? Tell me who is on our bench.
Exactly.
Who did we lose on our bench except for JaVale McGee? That's it. And we replaced him with a better version.
Cam Johnson is now in the starting lineup.
Jay Crowder.
Our bench is going to be led by Cam Payne and Jock Landale.
It's awful.
The bench is not as bad as you think. Dario Saric is coming back.
Jordan Clarkson, I'd be happy.
No, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. He'd be far and away your best bench player.
A bench doesn't determine that swing in wins. The Suns are going to win 55 games this year. It does not. Come on.
Regular season.
Ridiculous.
So let me tell you this. Why is the
core of the team did not change, and you replaced Jay Crowder and JaVale McGee with slightly worse players in Dario Saric, Jock Landale, and Josh Okogie, I guess. I mean, your bench isn't great, but
Yeah, you're
Whose
describing
bench
why.
is good? Name one top team with a great bench outside of the Clippers and the Warriors. So I guess I named two right there. But.
Boston.
Boston has
Boston has a
Boston
great
has an elite bench.
All right, in the West,
Um,
in the West, in the West.
You just named two.
New
Like,
Orleans.
I'm
And
just
then,
saying. I'm just saying the starting lineup will be fine. It's egregious
I
that you
mean,
think the Suns are going to drop to fifth.
isn't Dallas's bench filled with a bunch of 3-point shooters along with JaVale McGee or Christian Wood, whoever they choose the bench? Like that's a solid bench right there. That's 8 deep. That's an 8 deep.
I just don't think our bench is as bad as people think, and I think our starting lineup is great with 164 games last
Eden,
year.
go ahead. Why do you think they won't be the
It's
top
the
four?
regular
Let me-
season.
let me
Remember
let
that.
Eden-
The Clippers don't try in the regular season. The Warriors don't try in the regular season. Let's remember that.
Eden, I want you to.
That's why I also think after last year, you see Chris Paul kind of stumble down the stretch.
He does that every year.
You get all these guys. Like, I think ultimately I see the Suns sitting more guys during the regular season this year. And
But you need to get top four.
on top of that, like, you don't have a bench. Like, you can't. I don't know if you even can afford to sit those guys. Like, at this point,
Yeah.
from
We
what I've
have
seen
a
in the
bench.
preseason,
Come on.
from what I've seen in the preseason, nothing has shown me that this bench
What?
is good. Landry Shamet had one good game, got hurt. Like
Washington
Cameron,
just went for 31. Jock Lando went for 17.
Washington might not even make the
Washington
team.
had 11 turnovers. Washington's not
All
going
right,
to
well,
play.
look, he's not a point guard. He's a scorer. He went for 31.
Yeah,
I
11
just think you need to
turnovers.
relax.
Anyways, I think the Suns got worse this season. Not having Jay Crowder
By
back
the
is going to
thinnest of
hurt.
margins, they got
It's
worse.
not that
And I think they got worse while Denver got better with getting their
What
two guys
is-
back.
I'm
The
sorry,
Clippers
but
got better with their two guys back. Golden State is still Golden State. You have newcomers like New Orleans who's coming in.
Dallas got better.
you're
I
telling
don't
me
think
that we're
Dallas
going
got
to drop.
Okay,
We're
I
going to
think-
drop.
Yeah,
15,
okay, we
you're
can
telling me the
disagree.
Suns are going to be 15 games worse because that's what the drop off's going to be between 1 and 5. 15 games.
I don't
Mhm.
know if they win 50 in the regular season.
You don't think we win 50 games?
I would not be surprised if we don't.
Okay, all right. Maybe you guys do believe the
Look,
Suns are.
can I
seriously
say,
gonna
and this
drop
might be
off.
different from Eden's point, but the reason I don't think they'll be top 4 and I think they'll be 5 is because of this. Look, the teams that win a lot of games in the regular season are the deep teams. That's typically how it goes, right? You're not seeing teams that are 5, maybe 6 deep rolling in the regular season, right? Utah was the 1 seed 2 years ago because they had a really deep team with a lot of shooters, not just in their starting lineup, but on their bench, right? You have these deep teams that get the 1 seed. It's how it goes, right? The Warriors get the 1 seed when they have a ton of shooters on their bench and a ton of elite talent. Like when you have a combo like that, that's how you're able to win a lot of regular season games, right? The teams that have a very, very top-heavy team, typically, obviously, they'll make the playoffs, but it's just harder to win a lot of regular season games when you have no one to come off the bench in the meat of the season in game 45 when you want to play Chris Paul 42 minutes, right? So I think I agree a lot with Eden's point, and I just think that, last year you had a really deep team. And I say really deep.
I just don't understand.
Crowder and
dude.
Crowder and McGee are legitimate quality, even borderline
McGee will
starters
be
in this league.
replaced.
They're even
McGee
starters in this
will
league
be
still. And like they're really, especially Crowder is a really, really valuable player, obviously in the playoffs, but in the regular season, to have that defense night in, night out, to have that 3-point shooting, to have that just like presence is very valuable. And you replace them now. Who do you replace them with? Nobody. There's no replacement there.
Dario
You
Saric.
can bring in, okay, you can pretend Dario Saric can replace Jay Crowder. We all know he will not, and he can't, right? Like JaVale McGee's getting replaced by nobody. There was no one brought in to replace him.
not
I like
true.
Jock more so than any of those guys, but
I'm telling you right now,
that's the
Jock
only piece I have
Landale.
confidence in.
Jock Landale is better than JaVale McGee. I'm just going to throw that out there. Jock Landale can
He
shoot.
looked good.
Jock Landale can block shots. Jock Landale can move his feet.
One player got what, 20 or $30 million. The other one got what? The vet min, $2 million.
So what? Who cares?
I'm
I
just
don't care how much
saying
money.
he's not. I'm saying he's not better than JaVale McGee. Like, or else he'd be like. There's a reason he's
No.
valued a fifth as much,
We'll
right?
see.
Like,
We'll see.
not better.
We'll see. We'll see.
But all right, my point is, I think
And keep in mind, the core of the Suns team didn't change. Like the core of the team is there, and all the studs are there. Jay Crowder, I'm going to miss a lot. I really am. I think that's a huge loss, but it's not 15 games for me. So I do
By the way,
think we're
if he
gonna
goes to
hold top
Miami, which I think he will, if he goes back to Miami, it cements in my mind that they'll be the 1 seed. That adding that depth would be fantastic for them. I think that'd be
All right,
terrific.
While I don't believe the Suns will be the best team in the West or in the NBA, they will be the best looking team in the
That's
NBA.
true. That's true.
So
I
these
knew-
jerseys are very nice. I'm
I
very
knew
happy
you'd
I
get
got it
them.
for my birthday.
I'm
Nice.
just saying,
But
have a little faith.
anyways.
Have a little faith in the Suns. We always come through until playoff time. So we'll
Put out a
We'll be fine in the
statement because
regular
of your
season.
loss. Put out a statement because of the loss. I've never seen that before.
yeah, in the playoffs. I said we'll be fine till the
I know.
playoffs. All right.
All right, look.
But yeah,
Enough
we gotta
Suns
move
talk.
on.
Good Lord. I mean, wow. We just spent over 10 minutes on the Phoenix Suns. I am disgusted. But look, we can move on from that. We'll move over to some NFL now. It's time to talk about some football. We're going to go through a couple games here. Do you boys mind if I started off with the most obvious game of the week? I know we all want to talk about this
Bills
game.
Chiefs.
Yeah, it's Bills Chiefs. I mean, it's fairly obvious. For me, I don't know why in the world this game's not on prime time. Why is this not on Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football? Why? Why is it on Sunday afternoon? It doesn't make sense to me. The NFL is stupid. But anyway,
Because they have the Broncos Chargers on Monday night.
hey, Trevor said they're the top two teams in the AFC West. So hey, here we
I'm
are.
actually looking at it right now. I'm surprised that the Chiefs are home dogs to Buffalo. I didn't
For
realize
the
that.
first time in Mahomes' career, I believe he's a home dog. I think
Wow.
that's the first time ever, Eden. I believe it is. And yeah, so I want to talk about this game. I guess I'll start off. I'll make it brief. It's going to be high scoring, but I think it'll be in the high 20s. I don't know if it goes past that. I think people are expecting like a high 30s, like a literal barn burner. Yeah, I don't think it'll be quite that high. I think that'd be a little much, but I think it'll be a really exciting game again. I think KC wins. I really do. I'm higher on KC than everyone else here, I think. I think their offense is actually the best in the league. I don't have the numbers right in front of me to support it, but I know they're top 5 in points per game. And Mahomes is terrific as ever. Their O-line's really good. It seems like a new receiver is stepping up for them every play, every week. Travis Kelce's obviously there, but it shows that he doesn't need Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill doesn't need him. Tyreek Hill's been good as well. But Valdez-Scantling's been really nice. That's someone who I think's really stepped up this year for them. Kelce's obviously there, and then Juju's hanging around helping him out when he can, I suppose. But they have a great offense that puts up a ton of points no matter who's catching the ball, no matter who's out there. And I really, really trust them. And I think their defense, it's not great, but it's better than I expected. I don't know. The front seven's solid. It's the secondary that scares me. They get burned a lot. So I think, hey, start Gabe Davis in fantasy this week, ladies and gentlemen. He's going to have a bomb. He's fantastic. But anyway, look, sorry, I had to throw that in. But it's going to be a fun game. I think Buffalo's defense, obviously a great front seven. But to be honest, the answer that Casey will have is just not to run the ball that much. CEH isn't even that good. I think Jerick McKinnon should start over him, to be honest. He's better than CEH is. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game. I just think Mahomes outduels Allen. I think that the defenses are almost irrelevant because of how good the offenses are. And yeah, it's going to be a fun one. But Casey's at home in Arrowhead, and I trust the offense. So I don't know. Do you guys agree? Do you guys think Casey?
I can go.
Yeah,
Eden,
go
you
ahead.
wanna go?
Do I have to give a score,
go,
Eden? Do I have to give a score or not?
Nah.
Is that
You don't have to.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
You're taking Kansas City. Okay?
Yeah, I take Kansas City. I trust the offense more than I trust Buffalo's.
Welcome to Locks with Koff, ladies and gentlemen. One of my 2 locks of the week, Buffalo Bills minus 2.5 points. They will cover with ease. And I'm going to be real. This game is not going to be all that close. I'm going to be real. This game does not represent who these 2 teams are. Maybe it'll represent Buffalo a little bit. This game means everything to the Buffalo Bills. This is the biggest game that any of these guys will ever play in their entire careers. I don't mean that literally. Kansas City is going to be ready, but Buffalo is out for blood. And that's why I think Buffalo is going to win this game. They went into Kansas City in the regular season and dominated them last year. They should have won the playoff game in the divisional round, but Mahomes' magic is real. And for me, the Buffalo Bills are going to cover the spread easily. They're the much better team. They don't have a weakness on the roster. That defensive line is elite. And let's be real, Kansas City ran into a little bit of trouble in the first half because of that pressure from Max Crosby, right? Like that's what got Vegas the lead. And Casey was able to adjust at halftime and kind of figure it out. I don't know if they're going to be able to block Mahomes well enough in this game with that Buffalo defensive line. Von Miller, Jordan, what's his last name? What's his name?
Jordan
Jordan
Phillips,
Davis?
yeah.
Is that his name?
Jordan Phillips.
Phillips.
Jordan Phillips. Shoot, I forgot his name.
Said it 3 times. I
I
believe he's hurt, by the way.
Yeah, and Jordan Poyer's also hurt, I believe, right? Both
Yeah,
their
but
safeties
that's
are.
been known. That's been known. Anyways,
you just named him and he's hurt. What do you mean? Okay.
my thing is look, Buffalo's going to be ready to play.
He's
They're going to be
questionable. He's
motivated.
questionable.
And Buffalo's going to be out for blood. And I think the defensive line of Buffalo is going to neutralize this Chiefs offense enough to where Buffalo will easily cover the spread.
Even in
Nobody's
KC,
stopping.
Trevor. Even
Huh?
in KC. Even in KC.
Yeah, they'll be fine in KC. -2.5. I love the Bills. I love the spread. I would go as far as to say the Bills would cover 3.5, 4.5. I think this is going to be a 7 to 10 point win. I really do. I'm being serious. This game is everything for the Buffalo Bills. I'm being serious when I say that. They are out for blood. This is what happened last year. This is exactly what happened in the regular season of this game last year. Buffalo went into Kansas City and dominated them. It's going to happen again this year. And then they're going to play again in the playoffs and have another unbelievable game. But I'm saying for the sake of this regular season game, Buffalo will cover. They will.
Eden.
With
I'm
ease.
so torn because I love both of these teams.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo's the better team, but I just can't get over the fact that
Yeah.
they are banged up on defense. They're going
Secondary
to
especially.
Kansas
They're banged
City, and I mean, you saw what Kansas City did to Tampa Bay 2 weeks ago, and maybe there's a little bit of looking forward against the Raiders to this game, and the fact that they are home dogs, I just love that as a better. My gut is telling me Kansas City. I think it's going to be a great game, a super close game. I also don't think the last couple of weeks, I mean, with the exception of last week against Pittsburgh, that Buffalo has looked very good. And those are against two of the better teams in Baltimore and in Miami. I do like Trevor's point, though, that this game definitely means more to them than it does to Kansas City, and that's kind of making me think a little bit more. But ultimately, I got to go with my gut and take Kansas City at home.
Trust in Mahomes. You won't be
I just think Buffalo's a little too banged up on the defensive side of the ball, especially if Jordan Phillips doesn't play. And I think Kansas City is going to be more locked in from the beginning this week with this being such a big game. And the fact that they're home dogs, I just love that. So
Yeah.
I'm
Home
going with
dogs.
Kansas City.
Yes, sir. Just to
Sure.
win the game or with
Win
like
the
betting
game.
line? Win the game. There you
Well,
go.
they're underdogs, so yeah, obviously money line.
No, okay, never mind. I was talking about, okay, never mind,
Yep.
doesn't matter. But
Yeah,
all right,
okay,
yeah. I like it, Eden. I like it. Trust in Mahomes, trust in the best offense, best quarterback in football. Look, Trevor, I agree. Buffalo is the more talented team. I have more faith in Andy Reid and that KC offense to make the proper adjustments, even if they're down at halftime, to get the job done when it matters.
Shout out Christian Benford, by the way, Villanova cornerback starting for the Buffalo Bills.
That's pretty cool.
I believe he was a 5th or 6th round pick. Villanova
Yeah, wow.
FCS football school. He's
Nice.
starting due to Tre'Davious White being out, and he's played really well through the first 5 weeks.
Nice.
Shout
That's
out to
good
him.
stuff.
That's a good shout out, Eden.
Yeah.
I think, look, fellas, this is a regular season game for the Chiefs. I think this is a Super Bowl for the Bills. I just think that's the difference. I think there's a lot of bad blood, and I think the Bills are going to come out and they're going to want to make a statement. It's exactly like it's last year happening all over again.
What
I'm
if
telling
the
you.
Chiefs want to make a statement and say, hey,
But what's the statement?
you're still not better than us. We still own you.
But that's not like
It's not a statement.
It's like
All right.
not like that's not really
Okay.
a statement. Like
All right,
that's just
fine.
like
That's like the Suns to the Cleveland Cavaliers. We still
Yeah.
own you.
it's like the varsity. Let's beat up on the freshman team and say we're still better than you. But
But like,
Sure.
aren't these two teams like identical? Isn't the sentiment that Buffalo is more talented? Buffalo's
thing is
better.
Casey doesn't
Buffalo's gonna
care.
beat them. It's inevitable that Buffalo's gonna win because Buffalo's got the fire and they don't. You don't think KC hears that? All right,
I
we'll
don't think
see.
Casey cares enough because it's a regular season game. And I think Buffalo's.
I don't
gonna
know
be locked
what's
in.
this. What's this like notion that NFL teams don't care about regular season games against high quality opponents?
You have a
Every
brain.
game
That's
matters.
not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is Buffalo is going to be locked in. Buffalo's going to have
KC.
Buffalo's going to have that extra motivation that KC won't. That's my whole point, and that's why they're going to cover.
Fine. All right. We'll see what happens. We'll see what
I'm not
happens.
saying
on Sunday.
Casey's doesn't care. I'm just
All
saying
right.
Buffalo's out for blood, right? Like, you can put that together, right? Like what happened last year in the playoffs. Like Buffalo's gonna.
No, I know what
Buffalo's
you're
gonna have
saying.
that added fire.
I'm just saying I hope that KC has added fire with a rival. These are the two best teams in the AFC. I'd hope that you get locked in.
But for KC, it's just another regular season game.
Okay.
That's how I see it.
Okay, yeah, we can move on. I know
They've
what you're
beaten
saying.
them twice in the playoffs. They don't need. They don't.
I
Need
know
to
what you're
prove
saying.
anything.
Yeah, I know.
Let's
What
move
you
on
were
to
gonna
let's move on to my game of the week this week, which
Yeah.
is one I'm very excited to talk about, considering, this team that I support, my second team here. We all know I'm a Cardinals fan, but the New York Giants have not been very good for a while, and now they sit at 4-1, coming off a big win against Aaron Rodgers last week out in London. They're hosting the Baltimore Ravens this week, 3-2 with Lamar Jackson, who's played great this year, coming off a tough divisional game. I think another interesting story to this game is Don Martindale, I believe, is the Giants defensive coordinator, and he used to be the DC in Baltimore all those years. So now he's going up against Lamar Jackson. I think that's going to be interesting to see on that offensive defensive side of the ball. But this game in MetLife, I just want to talk about the Giants for a little bit. Like, they come back and beat Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't look that great. They beat Carolina by 3 at home. They're 2-0 for the first time in however long. And they're 2-0. Like, what a pleasant surprise. And I think, they lose a tough one to the Cowboys at home, who are a really good team, even with Cooper Rush starting at quarterback. And then you go out and beat Aaron Rodgers. Like, this 4-1 team under Brian Dable is a pretty damn good 4-1 team, if you ask me. And I know Ryan disagrees. I think Trevor disagrees a little bit too. But I don't think you can just write them off and say, they shouldn't be here. They have a couple quality wins. They've gotten some good road wins, considering the London game a road game. But, I mean, they're a good team. I don't think this is going to be an easy walkover by Baltimore. I do think Baltimore's the better team. They have more talent, and they're going to end up winning the game. But I think the Giants are legit. I think Brian Dable has done a great job. Daniel Jones is not putting up great passing numbers, but he's not turning the ball over, which is the biggest thing on offense. And this Baltimore Ravens defense, honestly, is not very good. So I'm really curious to see how this game plays out. I think it might be a little bit of a high-scoring game. I think, Baltimore is going to end up pulling it out, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's like a 28-24 kind of game.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Do you think the Giants right now, do you think that they'll make the playoffs? At 4-1 right now, do you think the Giants can make the playoffs right now?
I think I don't know why they couldn't.
Do you think they will?
I don't.
The thing here is
I'm just curious.
the reason why I would say no is because I still think that they're the third best team in their division. So that's kind of what's holding me back in a very good division right now. But I think that would be my reservation, is that they're the third best team. Although if 7 teams get in, like, are the Rams better than them? Like, not right now. I don't have a ton of confidence in the Rams. Like,
I agree with that.
Who else? What other wild card team? No one from the NFC South. I don't think. One of the Packers and Vikings will get in. I'm not as high on the Saints now that I have been. I think as of now, if you ask me right now, I think they will be top 17.
Wow. So you do think they will? Okay, interesting. Yeah. I was curious. I wanted to get that kind of, on the record. I disagree. And I also think they're a fraudulent 4-1 team. I think it's great that they're 4-1, but look, there's 2 reasons why, right? There's 2, to me, fairly obvious reasons why. One is the quarterback, Daniel Jones. He hasn't, put up numbers, obviously, but he also hasn't turned the ball over a lot, as Eden said. So, you got to give him credit there, but I do think the turnovers will come. He's had 4 years, right? Is this his 4th or 5th year, Eden? Do you know off the top of your head?
4th, and they did not pick up his 5th year off.
Yeah, and I think that's the right call. Look, he's just not that good of a quarterback. I think he's fairly inaccurate. He panics a lot. He doesn't make very good decisions. And again, he fumbles the ball a lot. He fumbles the ball a lot, more than any quarterback in football. Except for
Matt Ryan this year.
Except for Matt Ryan.
Through 5 games, 0.6 turnovers a game. So what is turnovers through 5 games?
I just think the turnovers will come. I think that he's that kind of quarterback. I think it's been a good start to the year. I don't think that's sustainable. He's had 3 years of it. I don't see it changing this year. And this comes in my second point, particularly because he doesn't have very good receivers, right? Kenny Galladay is the worst contract in football by a wide margin. He plays 5 snaps or less a game, does absolutely nothing. Sterling Shepard tore his ACL walking on turf, which, by the way, make it grass, please. These guys are ruining their knees because of it. And I don't like, what other receivers do they have? They have Darius Slayton, like, right? Like
Our boy.
our boy Darius Slayton, my guy. Eden, help me out here. I don't. They have Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney doesn't play, right? Like
Richie
have-
James, is that his
Slayton's
name? I
playing
think
now.
is Toney playing now?
Richie James is the leading receiver on the team.
Yeah. So right, like it's them and the Patriots have the 2 worst receiving rooms in football. It's not really close, right? By far and away the 2 worst receiving rooms. My point is those 2 things combined, I think is a recipe for problems and potential disaster down the road. So that's why I don't think it's sustainable, right? If you had talent at one of the 2 positions, I would think that it's a sustainable thing, what they have going here. I just think not a lot of receiving talent and not a good quarterback I have confidence in is not a recipe for a playoff team. But, that's just my opinion. So we'll see how it goes. And I do think Baltimore wins this game. I do think they cover. But it's been a good start for the Giants. They've enjoyed a nice 4-1 start. So good for them. They've won games that I didn't think they would. And I got to give them credit. Got to give the coach a little bit of credit here. Trevor, what do you think? I know.
Strictly for this game,
Yeah.
I do think Baltimore's going to beat them. 5.5 for a team at home is a lot of points to get. I'm back and forth on that spread, but I do think Baltimore's going to win the game. And I agree with Ryan. I think the Giants are a fraudulent 4-1 team. And I'm going to add one more thing because Ryan did point out a couple of good things.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to add is the Giants are 4-1 and their point differential is 10 points. I mean, they're winning a lot of close games. And they've beaten look, they beat the Packers. That was a good win. But for being real, I mean, the Packers had them and let their foot off the gas and made some mistakes in the second half. But it's a win's a win. That 10-point differential being 4-1 is just not doing it for me, right? Like you're not going to win close games like that every week. The losses are going to start to come. And the other big point is they don't have anyone to throw the ball to. They have no one on offense outside of Saquon Barkley. And I don't want to knock Daniel Jones for having a turnover problem in the past because he's doing a very good job this year. He hasn't turned the ball over a lot, but man, I mean, I just don't see enough firepower in this team to continue to win games. Their defense has played well, but yeah, I'm sensing fraud here. I would be very comfortable in betting that they don't make the playoffs. And it's like what Jack said, they're still the 3rd best team in the division. They might have the worst quarterback in the division. Yeah, I'm not seeing it from them. They're winning a lot of close games. That's going to come back later in the season. And they'll be a 7 or 8 win team. I think they're a formidable opponent. They're not somebody you can just, not plan for, prepare for anymore. But yeah, not seeing it with the Giants. They'll win 7 or 8 games. But we could be wrong. And I don't want to disrespect my boy Eden on his birthday, but that's how I feel right now. So.
Well, Carson Wentz is definitely the worst quarterback in the division. I just wanted to point that out.
I don't know about that. But
you think Carson Wentz is better than Daniel Jones?
Yes. I think Daniel Jones will be a career backup at best. Yeah, I do.
I think that's what Carson Wentz is right now.
This might be that too.
I don't know.
Wentz is better than Daniel Jones. He's not better than Cooper Rush, but he's better than Daniel Jones.
We can disagree.
But anyways, one's 4-1.
Can we agree on this? Can we agree on this? Wentz's highs are higher and his lows are lower than Daniel Jones. How about that? No,
I completely disagree with that.
Okay, never mind that.
I think Daniel Jones' lows are way lower. I don't know. You talk about the high, like they went 13-3 and won the Super Bowl with their backup. Like, sure, call that high higher. But like, as of right now, I think Daniel Jones is the better quarterback. And I think a big reason why is because it's Dable versus Ron Rivera.
Oh, I think Rivera should be fired. He's not a good coach. Yeah. But yeah, look.
By the way, just another thing on the Giants.
In year 1 of Dable, and look what Josh Allen turned into. He was terrible his first year. He was terrible. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is going to turn into Josh Allen, but I'm saying Daniel Jones is going to improve under Brian Dable, who's had success developing quarterbacks.
Can't get much worse. Yeah, go ahead, Trevor.
Well, hasn't turned the ball over this season, so he's gotten better.
No, look, I agree. I think Daniel Jones has played decent football this year. I think he's doing what he can do with what he's got in that receiving core, and I don't even know who their tight end is anymore, but it's somebody with a name.
Bellinger.
I don't even know who that is. That Bellinger, the baseball
Rookie, I
player? I know a Bellinger, but anyways, my
Anyway,
point is the Giants have the second worst point differential among teams with winning records. That just scares me. And the team with the worst point differential is the Packers, who they just beat. So to me, that scares me a little bit. They're not winning games convincingly, and with no receivers, bad quarterback. Are they going to be able to continue to scrape away wins? We'll see. They play in a tough division. They'll probably go 2-4, maybe 1-5 in their division this year. I don't know. I don't know if there's enough wins out there for them to make the playoffs, but we'll see.
I think
Yeah.
they'll win at least 3 divisional games. I'm optimistic.
they have a max 7.
I think they
win-
can win 2 against Washington, and they'll take 1 out of 4 against 1 out of 3 now, I guess, remaining against Philly.
Just
and
saying. You
Dallas.
think they can beat Philly?
No,
once, yeah.
they're a max 7-win team. Max.
Oh,
Max.
Max.
I will take that bet right now, Ryan. Over under 7.5 from this
Yeah.
current point.
Yeah.
How much? $20 bucks.
25. Let's do it.
So Ryan thinks the
25
Giants are going to
bucks.
win
Yeah.
3 games the
Yep.
rest of the season.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
I haven't even
Seven-
looked at the
seven
schedule
wins.
yet, but I
7
feel
wins
good
is,
about
is like 2 or 3 more than I would have given them at the start of the year. So yeah, I think they'll win 7 max. Yeah, I do.
All right, write it down. Book it.
Yep. I'll write it down. Yes, sir.
Another win for the birthday boy. Here we go.
The Giants have an easy schedule. That's why I
ladies
would
and-
take that bet.
Ladies and gentlemen,
They
Eden
have
said,
me the
Eden said this when we made our Mitchell to the Cavs bet, and he ended up having to pay me quite a lot of money. So
Well, my Miami Vikings pick is looking pretty good right now. My Minnesota Vikings pick is looking pretty good.
fair.
Do we
Look,
have
Look,
another
win
game
half
we have
of
to
the
talk
back.
about? Do we have one more game we got to talk about?
We've got one more. It's an NFC East battle, right? I believe it's the Cowboys versus the
Mm.
Eagles. I want to let Trevor start us off on this one. I feel like we haven't let Trevor start off very often. Trevor, go ahead. Trevor, what do you think's gonna happen? We got Eagles minus 6.5 in Philly with Cooper Rush starting for Dallas. First of all, can Dallas cover? Second of all, can they win the game?
Welcome back to Locksmith Cough, ladies and gentlemen. Jaguars money line. I just wanted to throw that in there before I get to the game. That's my second. See what I did there? That's kind of good, right? Jags money line, Bills minus 2.5. Those are locks with cough picks of the week. Anyways, to this game, the Cowboys and the Eagles. Oof. I mean, I'm surprised that both of these teams are as good as they are. I really am. I like the Eagles to win this game at home, but after watching Philadelphia last week against my Cardinals, I'm convinced that there's not one clear-cut best team in the NFC. And that's sort of what I wanted to talk about here. I think the NFC is widely up for grabs. I think this game is widely up for grabs. But Philadelphia at home, I think they're very physical up front, which is actually the strength of Dallas's defense, is that defensive line. And look, that Dallas defense in general is really good, but particularly that defensive line. We'll see how they are against the run. They have a great pass rush with obviously Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, but we'll see how they are against the run. And I like Philly at home. I think it's going to be a very low scoring game. I pick the under. If I had to be a betting man, I pick the under on this game. I think it's going to be physical. I think 6.5 points is too many. It's a divisional game. Weird things happen, block punts, missed field goals, whatever it might be. So I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Eagles. I just think they have a little bit more firepower on the offensive side of the ball. And it's not really because of weapons. It's just I trust Jalen Hurts a little bit more than I trust Cooper Rush. And I know Cooper Rush has been balling, and I'll give him that. But I think that the Dallas defense has really been the bright spot of this this 4-win stretch. And look, the Eagles also have a very good defense. So it's a very even matchup. I don't think it's a 7-point difference, but I do think Jalen Hurts is better than Cooper Rush. And I think that's going to be the difference in this ball game. But here's the thing. I want to talk about my Arizona Cardinals. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. Gotcha.
Oh, my Lord.
No, I'm
Thank
playing.
you.
I'm going to go Eagles 20-17 in a low scoring game.
Eden?
Doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. Ryan, here we go. This is your against the spread pick this week. The Eagles at home against the Cowboys minus 6.5.
Are you serious? This is free right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Minus
This is
6.5
easy.
for Philly.
Are you kidding me? I take Cowboys plus 6.5. This is free. Are you kidding me? This is an easy pick right here.
Trust that defense.
Philly, look, Philly's a good team. I think Philly probably is the favorite to win this game if I had to guess, but the Cowboys defense, as Trevor said, is very formidable. And Cooper Rush has been more than solid. Like, he's been just fine in his 3 or 4 games now. I think it's 4 games of playing. He's been totally fine. And I think that, like, Philly's 5-0. But if I'm walking into a game against Philly, am I absolutely terrified? Not really. They're a very beatable 5-0 team, as the Cardinals, felt last week.
That. Thanks, Matt Amendola.
Unfortunately, they shanked a kick, and Kyler decided to spike it with 22 seconds left. So they did not win the game, but the Eagles
I think
did.
Matt Amendola was doing his best Cade York impression. So
Look, I was
that's
at
what
that.
I heard, and at least we weren't at the game, Trevor. At least we didn't have to see that.
Look, yeah, I was at the game, and the fans the entire game were just yelling "Fire Stefanski." So what I realized, ladies and gentlemen, is Browns fans are idiots. But look, that's neither.
It took you till now to realize that? Or?
That's
Look,
neither
Ryan, I've
here
been
nor
friends with you for like 8 years, so I mean, I knew this 8 years ago.
Funny guy over here. Look, I had to know Trevor during the 0-16 season. That was a disaster. But anyway,
Sean Kaiser, baby.
Corey Coleman. But yeah, anyway, yes, it's Cowboys plus 6.5. They're gonna cover. They might even win the game. You know what? We're gonna have a little fun. They're gonna win the game. I'm gonna predict it. Cooper Rush has been good.
Wow.
And next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have a conversation about, is Dak going to be the starter, or does Cooper Rush have a chance to keep the job? Who knows? I think Dak will, but if they win this game, there will be legitimate discussion about it. So we'll see how that goes. But I do think they can take the upset. And Trevor, what did you say was the score of this game in favor of Philly?
I had Eagles 20-17.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take the opposite. I think Cowboys win 20-17. I'm going to copy your score, but I'm going to go Cowboys. I think Cowboys pull this game out behind their defense, and I think Cooper Rush is going to have some nice plays. I think Tony Pollard's explosive, and Zeke should be traded or benched. I think Pollard's the guy. And yeah, so I'm excited. I'm excited to see the Cowboys pull this out, and I think they'll cover. And that's the lock with Ryan this week. Easy money.
Walk with Albert? That's interesting. Anyways, I don't know. This is another game I'm torn on. I think 6.5 is way too many.
Yeah.
I don't know. What should I pick, guys? Tell me what to pick.
Look, you already know locks with Koff, and I'm 5-1 in my last 6, so you should just ride my picks instead.
That's fantastic. I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to pick the Cowboys to win. And I don't know, just a gut feeling right now. I think Cooper Rush has played really well. I love this Cowboys defense. The Eagles defense is also really good, but I think I'm riding with, Dallas has shown me last week going to LA, and I don't think LA is very good. I've said that a couple times, I think, on this podcast, but I think that was a big win for them. And they're not a high scoring team, but they rely on their defense. And I
Crazy
think
from a few years ago,
get the job done. I'm going with the Cowboys.
The Cowboys haven't given up, The Cowboys haven't given up 20 points in a game this season. 19, 17, 16, 10, and 10. Their defense is going to keep them in this game, and that's why the 6.5 points is just way, way too many. Way too many. But,
man, I wish my defense could do that, but here we are. Yeah. Cowboys defense is great.
The Browns are 2-3, and their 3 losses are to what? The Jets and the Falcons, and the Chargers is a decent loss.
We should be 5-0, but it's neither here nor there. It's the story of being a Browns fan. Five games we should have won, but 3 games we didn't. So that's kind of how it goes. But we're not talking about the Browns here today, ladies and gentlemen. Look, I'm not going to bring up my teams like this, okay, every week. We're going to move on. I'm excited to talk about them next week after they win. Excited to talk about the Cavs and Donovan Mitchell on opening night. I'm excited. It's going to be great for next week's podcast. Trevor's going to hate me.
So all of a sudden, Ryan,
the
the Cavs get Donovan Mitchell, and now I only hear you talk about him and not Darius Garland.
Look, Darius Garland's better than Donovan Mitchell, but that's neither here nor there. Look, you laugh. It's true.
I thought he was going to say Mitchell was the third option, not Mobley earlier.
Well, look, Mobley's the third option right now.
100%.
In 2 years,
I did see a ranking the other day of ESPN's top 100 NBA players. It had Evan Mobley 39 and DeAndre Ayton 40. Basically the same player is what they were saying.
And Mobley's going to keep flying up, ladies and gentlemen.
When Ayton jumps him, I'll jump back on the pod and let everyone know.
Yeah, we all know. Look, we all know Mobley's a more talented player at a minimum. But look, we're not going to go into this debate right now. Look, I think we're about done on this podcast. I'm sure you have some shout outs, but give me something. Someone give me something. 'Cause I have one, but I want to save it. Someone go ahead here.
Had one, but I forgot what it was.
Trevor, do you have anything for me?
Shout out.
Fine. I'll shout out Ben Simmons. He fouled out in 13 minutes of play tonight. Really good effort by him. 6 fouls in 13 minutes. Yeah, it's actually, I feel bad for him a little bit. Hopefully he gets it together. But he did have 6 assists, so good for him. He had a nice 6-6 stat line, so good for him.
Shout out my Arizona Cardinals. Don't give up on them yet, folks.
What was that
Don't
shout
panic.
out?
I've never felt better about this team this year until even after that Eagles loss. I feel great about them. I'm being serious.
And you'd be a great Browns fan. Man, I feel really good about the team after a loss. This is
Whoa,
awesome.
whoa. Our best player hasn't played yet. We are getting our best player back very soon.
Same. We our best players have played yet.
Well,
either.
we'll see. Another allegation, another lawsuit,
Hey,
we'll
NFL said it has no bearing on his current suspension. We're chill and we're
They'll just make a
good.
new one. Exactly. They'll just add on a new one.
No, whoa. But look,
anyways, Cardinals fans, don't lose hope. We'll be fine. We're going to beat Seattle this weekend. I'm not worried about that. And then we get D-Hop back and everything's going to be all in good.
Can I say Seattle upset over the Cards? I'm calling it right here.
I like Seattle to win as well.
I agree. He's
Arizona
disrespecting
hate
him.
on this podcast. Eden.
Let's
I
go,
need
Eden.
that.
Let's go, Eden. I love it.
Shout out me. It's my birthday. So
Shout out Eden.
Shout out Eden. 22, baby.
Yes, sir. The big 2-2.
Shout
I like it.
out,
Oscar
oh,
Gonzalez from Oscar
Shout out
Gonzalez.
Mill Ave tonight when Trevor and I are going to be running that. So there we go. I don't know where we're going, but we'll be there.
That's great. Maybe you'll see Jay Crowder because he gave up on his team. Sorry, I don't know.
Shout out DeAndre Hunter, future Phoenix Sun. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this podcast up, ladies and
Shout
gentlemen.
out Jeff Bezos, future owner of the Phoenix Suns.
shout outs have become an absolute mess. Trevor's gonna think of another one, but I'm gonna end it.
I mean, shout out Joe Shiesty. What can I say? Who am I talking about? Joe Shiesty or Joe Shiesty?
Oh, good God. Look, I hope everyone enjoyed. We'll be back next week with another podcast going into full detail about the Cleveland Cavaliers' great start to the season next week and the Suns' awful start. So I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next week.
Shout out Minnesota Vikings.